Okay, so I'm going to go fast through this. So this woman right here, she had Charcot-Marie Tooth, and she was living on a ranch in Montana and was feared that she had to sell her ranch and all her animals. And she thought she was going to have to go to a wheelchair. And then after being fit, she's able to regain, be able to walk down to her favorite fishing hole and walk her pack llamas in a parade and stuff like that. So her life dramatically changed just with better bracing systems. So back to the two primary types of bracing, there's accommodative and corrective. We discussed that a little bit before. Accommodative, pretty much a lot of the prefabricated AFOs, and also plastic, and they could even be made out of graphite, but as long as they're not trying to do corrective forces in 3 dimensions, they're what I would consider accommodative. Then there's corrective. I believe I'm the only one that with like X-ray validation or CT scan that you could see that all joints in all 3 dimensions are aligned properly. And when you align the joints, you're also aligning all the muscles within the body. So they get, weak muscles become stronger because you're a lot more efficient because of the line of pull. So I make 2 types. One's the graphite solid ankles, which I don't make those too often, but the ones I mostly use are the triplanar graphite dynamic response AFOs. So that enables somebody to have a little bit spring in their step. So that's what it's called, Dynamic Bracing Solutions, DR3. DR means dynamic response, and 3 for triplanar. So I'm going to just do a quick case study on this gentleman. He has CMP type 1A. Here's the video, so I'm hoping it's going to play fun. Did everybody hear that? Good.
One thing that really is the point of the uniqueness of Mamadou practice and the DBF is the courage that he has to apply forces, 3-dimensional forces, to correct the foot. The guy solved my problem. That's it. He practical. I have a deformity foot that was doomed to surgery, and I was ready to go for surgery, and he is addressing it. The 3-dimensional forces, bringing the foot to a normal anatomy. What's differential is this 3-dimensional forces that is correcting the foot. That's just groundbreaking. I've never heard of anything like that. Every brace person I went to never addressed that. They didn't know when to start, where to start. And what is fantastic and unique of this practice is the alignment, the realignment of the foot with 3-dimensional foot. That's incredible. That needs to be commended. Fantastic.
So here he is able to get off the ground. So that's a dynamic response that enable him to get in the air, while he's running. So he had onset in 1997. He was having trouble walking any distance. On weekends, all his friends were taking off and going on hikes, and he just could not go. He had a hard time standing still. He had multi-joint pains. He had 5 falls a week and 3 near falls every day. He ranked his barefoot balance as 2/10. So he had sensory impairment, a lot of neuropathic pain, pins and needles and such, burning. He had minor circulation issues. He had 8/10 pain in the right ankle, the knee, the hip, and his lower back. So he went to a CMT Center of Excellence, and they recommended a major foot and ankle reconstruction and ankle fusion.
I feel like a warrior when I'm walking with this braces. I walk fast, confident. For example, if there is a situation I have to run, I'll be able to run. If there's a situation I have to run without the brace, I wouldn't be able to run. I would just be smacked by a huge giant. Now I can run off the giant, which is, there's an earthquake I can run. There's a fire I can run. This is serious. I really can save my life by using these braces. And it's easy to put it on, easy to take it off. It will adjust to your normal life, day life, easily. And it's cool looking. Everybody asks, what is this? Is that a new trend? But it looks like, like a very futuristic, pretty cool. So I want to show off my braces.
Okay, this was his foot and ankle. And if you notice that all the bones are way out of alignment, he had a lot of pain. There's also a little bone right here, an artifact that chipped off when that ankle was dislocating. But you'll see right here that the talus is roofing onto the tibia. A lot of pain right there, but all these joints are out of alignment and painful when he put weight on it. That's a standing weight bearing on the same foot. Calluses in places where all the energy is, his foot, when he stands, he was rolling over onto the outside of his foot. Here's after, when you get the alignment, somebody could stand relaxed and balanced. And that's really what the whole thing is all about. Now, when you're standing, gravity will actually help hold you up if you're aligned properly. The human body becomes very efficient. And so if no muscle power is needed to stand if you're held in the right position. He tried a whole bunch of these different types of graphite prefab braces. He tried all kinds of things. This is only a small example of what he had tried. His walking speed greatly increased. His stride width definitely came in. So it was a narrower base. Step length was 42% better or longer. And then the left to right step length ratio evened out to a 1-to-1 ratio. So he was not comfortable doing any power walking, but once in the braces, he was able to get 120% improvement in walking speed. His step lengths greatly improved. So all his numbers. Now, when he was running there, he was running on electronic mat. I have a gait mat because I'm very interested in outcomes. And so I'm always trying to improve what I could do and how I could improve the alignment, but also gait parameters. So here's that same foot that was really deformed, and I was able to straighten it out where he's able to put all his weight onto one leg with security. So all the desired functional tasks were regained: quiet standing, walking at all speeds, running, jumping, dancing at high level. He could stand for hours. In fact, he's worked for years at Costco now, spending 12-hour days on his feet. He's now able to walk like 6+ miles, whatever. So his life greatly improved.
Hi guys, my name is Leopold Nunan, Leo from Rio. Hi, I have a Charcot-Marie tooth type 1A. I found a solution here for one of my major problems because of CMT. The pain was incredible. I couldn't really barely step on the ground. The pain was so strong, and I also had the pain when I was asleep. Surgery. Oh my God, I'm so happy I did not do any type of surgery, because the braces not only fix that problem that I had with the deformed ankle, full ankle, not only that, but the brace gives me more dynamic when I walk. So it's not fixing the CMT, the surgery. The CMT is there, progressing. With the brace, I am walking faster. I am preserving that structure out there. And there's also giving me faster dynamics. So the CMT will slow you down. The braces helping me having that cardio that I would not have without the brace, with the surgery. So this is not only improve the gait, but fix the pain. This saved my knee, saved my hip, saved of course, the pain around the ankle. That was the most acute one. I'm protected. I'm not rolling out. I'm not further damaging. The brace is holding that in. So no more pain. That's just incredible. I can't believe it. Just groundbreaking. Very excited. I'm here at Dynamic Bracing Solutions in Carlsbad doing my 3-year checkup. This is incredible. It's a dream. I'm here with Mamadou Kulak. We are here at Dynamic Bracing Solutions doing this fantastic 3-year updates, 3-year checkup. Thumbs up. If I have one more thumb, it will be up. Thumbs up. 3 years. I can't believe that I have no pain. That's number one. Wow. It's incredible. No pain in the structure of the foot. I still feel like a warrior with the brace. So guys, my 3 years have been fantastic. I improved my quality of life incredibly. I feel stronger. I feel I can travel more. I'm more independent. I can get a job now and work like, 10 hours a day. It's crazy. Changed my life. I am another person because of my Dynamic Bracing Solutions.
Okay, I think we could stop here. I could keep going. I got all kinds of slides and videos and so forth, but I think that we want to get to a question and answer period. Is that correct?
Yeah, that'd be wonderful.
Okay. So, anybody have any questions out there?
Okay, so Jason has his hand up, his virtual hand. Jason, go ahead.
So Marmaduke, basically, I've had the Helios brace done by Ortho Rehab Designs in Las Vegas. I'm not sure if you heard of them or not.
Sure have.
Okay, so 2010, I got the Helios brace. They were quite expensive. Insurance didn't cover them. They've been working well for me, but I think 12 years later, I just don't think they're doing their job. And I spoke to the orthodontist out there, and he suggested a new pair, but now they're $15,000 a pair, and insurance doesn't cover them. I went to a local place to get some carbon fiber made, and the place out here in Cincinnati, Ohio, sent them out to get fabricated in Florida. They're so hard to put on and take off that they've been sitting in the closet for a year. So I can't use those. And the biggest problem that I'm having, like you mentioned, being able to stand and talk and not having to concentrate on losing my balance. And with these Helios, I can move and I have the spring in my step, but it's stopping that I have the problem in gaining my balance to just stand there, because one of my left knee is more susceptible to buckle, and I lose my balance and I can fall. So I'm really looking for a new solution to go with to see if your solution might work for me, because honestly, when I saw that video, I'm thinking I could never do any of that. I have enough trouble standing and walking as it is, because everyone with CMT is different. But
Correct.
I would love to entertain the option of what you have to offer, because at this point, I'll be 50 years old next year, and it's progressively getting worse as the years go on, and I need to find another solution, because I just think my foot is changing shape and deforming, whatever, that the brace isn't properly fitting like it did when it was molded in 2010.
Yeah. So a lot of the bracing systems out there, I don't think are, mine are dynamic, but they actually are a lot more rigid than some of the braces out there. When they're too flexible, they actually make your muscles engage with. And then if your muscles engage, that means your nerves are firing. And, I have a nurse from Colorado who at 50 years old, she thought she was going to have to retire because of, that she thought she was going to be in a wheelchair. And once I fit her, she was able to finish her career and actually work a couple extra years. And she retired on her own terms. And she still just recently came in for a new set. And she's out power walking and out walking her husband right now. But she had tried other things that were a little more flimsy, and it just didn't allow her to stay in that upright position. So you're efficient, you stand and get balanced and so forth. So as long as any bracing system uses triplanar and actually could validate that with standing weight-bearing x-rays, then you're going to be well served. And then if you could bend the brace with your hands, it's not strong enough to hold your body weight in motion.
No, these are carbon fiber and Kevlar, and they are rigid, solid. I mean, you could throw them across the room and they just will not break. but where the foot, in the middle of the foot plate, even the carbon fiber is starting to crack some
Okay.
because they're rigid, so I can't dorsiflex or plantar flex at all. They're just rigid, solid. So they're very strong because I need ankle support because I have weak ankles. So it's time that I need to try something, else, because I don't know if getting another set of these is going to really improve anything. I think it's just going to work better for a little while. I don't know. So
Do you have a toe plate on yours, or does it cut off?
it's a toe plate. It goes about 3/4 up the bottom of my foot.
Yeah, so all mine go to the full length of the foot plate, and that
Okay.
allows somebody to have support all the way through the full step. And so some people will cut them off short because sometimes some people are having problems with breakage on that. So
Yeah.
So a full length foot plate will allow somebody to take a full step length. I mean, a real long step length, don't even potentially run. So yesterday, I had a gentleman in my office that I fit 13 and a half years ago. He is the first wounded warrior to go back into active duty with
Wow.
a brace. He is still wearing the same brace after 13 and a half years. He also, when he's done, he's still active duty. After he's done playing military all day, he trains for triathlons.
Hmm.
So he is doing about 10 million steps a year. Humans will take 3 to 10 million steps a year. So he's at the higher level of that. So we figure after 13.5 years that he's 135 million steps on the same AFO, running, jumping, doing everything he needs to do. So I believe I also make the most durable braces out there. But can any braces break? The answer is yes. Any car could break, anything can break or wear out. Now, one of the things back to muscles and alignment and being able to take a full stride is if we could keep most of your muscles shut off all the way through the gait cycle and have it more of a relaxed step, your nerves are not being overworked. And I think on CMT is more you stress the nerves, the quicker and the more progression of CMT. So that nurse, like I said, that was able to retire and still out there, she goes, since you fit me, I don't feel like my CMT has got any worse. But we know that it's a progressive disorder, and so that we could never guarantee. But I've heard that over and over again that my CMT is slowed down. So if you stop the synapses of the firing of the nerves, which because muscles will fire quick when they need to, or they'll elicit a whole bunch of extra muscles that should be off. So I look for overuse syndromes. If anyone's walking with flexed knees or flexed hips and all that stuff, I have a stretching program and I have a training program to enable somebody to become a lot more efficient, a lot safer and stable. But also the main thing is shutting off the muscles that don't need to be overworked, which will then help not stress out the nervous system.
Okay. I've got contact. We can talk more offline and get into more detail and kind of go from there about the next steps.
Okay, that sounds
Yeah,
good.
great.
Nice
Thank
meeting
you. Thank you. You too.
All right. Thanks, Jason. Gloria, do you want to unmute and go ahead with your question?
Yes. I had two small questions. One was, can you tell me what's the material made out of your braces?
It's a carbon composite,
Okay.
but it's more advanced than what most of my profession is using.
Okay. And then do you recommend these for children with CMT?
Yes. In fact, when I worked, I did a lot of work at children's hospitals, and the children that were under my care rarely had surgeries. The children that were with my peers tended to every summer have surgeries. And my kids were out running around all summer long. I know I liked running around on my summer breaks. And so, yes, when you hold and prevent the deformities from developing, then there's no need for surgeries. The other is I correct a lot of deformities with my bracing techniques, and I call that remodeling. So
Okay.
I believe that children, I think they could benefit the most because too many kids have had, people I see, oh, I've already had 6 surgeries, I've had 17 surgeries, I've had, whatever. So any surgery that you can prevent, it is worth it. And most people with CMT have soft tissue issues, which means that it's like moving teeth. With soft tissue, you can move that over time. And okay.
Great. Thank you.
Looks like our next person is Rogine Madsen, if you want to unmute.
Yeah. If I don't know where you are,
I mean, basically San Diego, California.
okay. If I live in a smallish town in northern Arizona, and I've just had disasters.
I hear it and see it all the time.
Yeah, medical equipment companies insist on sending someone to me, and it's like, they don't know. It's horrible. If I came to you, how long would I need to stay?
Well, I usually see people on 2 primary visits. One is for, I'll see each individual for a full day for assessment, measuring, and casting. So I dedicate a whole day for an individual because there's a lot to deal with. I also videotape, and they go over the gait mat, all kinds of stuff. I'll check out all the range of motion, how much correction I could get, and so forth. Now, the other is, the second visit would be after what I do is I don't make braces, I develop standing and walking solutions. And for some people, even running solutions. So I found out that just making a device doesn't do a whole lot. You got to figure out what do you have to solve and design for that. So that's the other thing I look at, it developing standing and walking solutions. And then that could take, actually, believe it or not, a couple months. And then I have people come back for usually a 3-day visit, and we do fitting and training during that whole time. And then there's some people that, like I just had a person with CMT from India, and I had them come in for a whole week just to make sure that when they went back, nothing, they wouldn't have any issues. So it's usually 2 major visits, and then I like to see people, if I can, several months, like 4 or 6 months, or even a year later, come back. I could always tweak it. I could always improve it. I could always improve alignment. So it's like moving teeth. You need to go and get adjustments to try to continue to improve. So
I could do that. Yeah. So I'd look at your website to figure out how to get an appointment.
yes, you could, like I said, just email cmtbracing@aol.com. And Jennifer in my office could then set up an appointment with you. Or you could call, I think I gave the number out before.
Let's do that number again, please, Marmaduke.
Okay, it's 760
760
814
814. Oh, wait, this is not working. Sorry. Hang on one second. Still having technical issues. Okay, let me try again. 760
814
814
8475.
8475. All right, I'm putting that in chat, everyone. Okay. Good. All right, Dennis has his hand up also. Dennis, if you want to unmute and go ahead.
Yeah, one of the concerns that I have with my existing braces is that inflexibility limits some of the things that I can do. For example, walking uphill is difficult because it's in that common flex position. And I was reading about a brace called NeuroSwing. It's a German company where they've actually provided a spring-loaded flexing at the ankle level. And I was wondering if you had heard anything about that company or the brace.
I have, but I have not. I really don't have any good feedback for you on that. Whether I haven't had any experience with that, so it'd be unjust for me to make any comment about that. So, but on On mine, I have a toe register that's tipped up, and so if you get your weight line forward, it will allow you to get up on your toe to walk up a hill. And then it does flex. Hold on. Could you get me a brace, please? We're gonna have somebody get a brace so I can show it to you. This one right here. I can't see it. No, this is an old one, but so here's the flat part, but you notice that the toe is up and allows you to rock onto the tip of the toe. And then this has a dynamic response. So it will give with your body weight. So if you lean forward, it will flex and then it will spring off the ground and push you forward. How I could tell this is an old one, even though they look the same as the foam I now use, this foam now comes in black. And so for years I've had, here's one. And this is with the black foam. Now, a lot of people with an ankle that rolls, we put this paddle on the side and it keeps that ankle nice and stable and secure, but also allows me to put corrective forces to try to improve the alignment.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yeah, well,
Barbara, do you want to unmute and ask your question? Barbara? Hopefully she can hear us. Oh, there she is.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I couldn't find the unmute thing wasn't showing up. I had a question, probably true for a lot of people, but I have some conditions that exacerbate what the CMT has done. And those, my feet definitely supinate. So for example, if I'm on carpet, of course, I'm going to be walking on the outsides of my feet all the time as opposed to hard surface. But I also had hip surgery about 6 years ago, which resulted in my right leg coming out 3/4 of an inch shorter than the left leg, which means that left leg really wants to just flip over to the side so that both legs will be the same length. And I also had back surgery maybe 11 years ago, which meant the sciatic nerve is not communicating all the way to the toes on my longer leg, if all that makes sense. So I have all those things working kind of against each other. Now, my question, I think, is would that one leg at least have to be surgically lengthened to make anything work out?
no. I see a lot of people with all kinds of disorders that have leg length discrepancies. And that's easy to, we put a foam pad in between here and the shoe to take up the length. So we've had people with even 3 1/8 inch leg length discrepancy that we're able to fit. And,
Okay.
and all going into, so you don't have to put it on the outside of the shoe. But it's very important, that brings up a good point, is we need to level the pelvis. And when the pelvis is level, then the whole body works more efficiently. The spine is not going off on the side and have to correct itself. We want to level that pelvis so we got a nice, efficient line, a weight line going up the whole skeleton.
Yeah, I'm definitely not aligned properly, because if my feet are flat, my knees are going in.
Yeah, and I would,
The leg's not straight.
I do a lot of the assessment. I would try to correct as much of that as I possibly can.
Okay.
Alignment, the human body wants to be aligned. I don't know how many people, when I straighten their foot out or their knee, everyone, no matter how hard I'm pushing, they go, "Oh my God, that feels so good." And the human body will talk back to you. You know when you're out of alignment, but you also know when you're back.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Marma, we've had several questions come in from chat, so I'm going to read some of the questions to you for you to answer.
Sure.
One person said, my toes are curled and surgery is suggested. Is this something that braces can correct? I do not currently wear braces, but I do have severe balance problems and must walk with a walker.
Yeah, so the curled toes are caused from a muscle imbalance. So the toe extensors are no longer working. The muscles on the bottom are working, and they just start drawing the toes down. That may have to be corrected. The toes and the Achilles tendon are the ones that will probably need surgeries. Now, some people, like the military guy that I saw, he does a thing where his toes, when he's running, his toes will start curling. That's a toe grasp mechanism. I just put a toe bar under there, which then prevented that thing from curling in. So it really depends how much those toes are curling, on whether we could fix that or help that with bracing, or whether they would need surgery. But if I saw somebody in person, I could identify that and let them know.
Okay. And then somebody else says, but I think you've addressed this, 3 braces in 10 years and I wobble all the time and cannot stand still in the center of the room. Will your braces help me?
Yeah, that's one of the biggest things when I was reading and on all the forums. I can't stand still and I have to touch something or hold on or whatever. Or they're waiting for the person to stop talking so they could go sit down, type of thing. I go after that, number one. That's the first thing I go for, is enable somebody to stand balanced and where they can actually relax. And the other thing we don't realize, when balance is off, we get high anxiety. And then we're anxious, we have a fear of falling, fear of things out of place. And so by relaxing that, we actually relax all the muscles in the body, so all those nerves get to relax. And I think the more that we have muscles relaxed and nerves relaxed, that the progression of CMT should not be so progressive, I think.
Okay. And let me just scroll through here. People are asking, do you have a website, a specific website they should go to?
Yes, I do. I have Dynamic Bracing Solutions.net. I have also written but not published yet a CMT website. But I don't know how many, there might be 30, 40 pages on that. And then I'm also writing a book on all my techniques and so forth. I don't want this technology to pass with me. I want to share it with the world. Like I said, I've lectured around the world, lectured all over US. A lot of the P&O programs, I've gone to the master programs and lectured on CMT and so forth. We don't get any CMT education in our school programs. And so I feel like I've lectured more about CMT than any other clinician that I know.
That's amazing. A couple other things here in the chat. One person said, I had to give up driving because I could not push the brake pedal down, no downward motion. Can you talk about driving with your braces, Marmaduke?
Well, that is a big issue, because it depends on whether you have upper thigh weakness or not, because you need that upper thigh part component to help push down those, the brake or gas pedal and so forth. With mine, your plantar flexion, the ability to push down the pedal is lost in this, but I have people where I recommend that they take the driving brace off and just have like a driving shoe, like a slipper or something in the car, drive, and when you get there, just put the brace back on. The other thing that no one else is doing is I have what we call a split toe. I don't know if you could see the split that's right here.
Sort of.
Okay, sorry, it's not good, but what that enables is, if you're stepping on rocks or cracks or whatever, it actually accommodates the ground so it doesn't throw you off from side to side so much. So it improves balance and so forth. The military guy, he's the first one I did it on, and he said for him, because his life depended on it, he went back into a war zone with his brake. But he said it was like 1,000 times better for him. People that had the solid toe plate and then went to this and were just walking said, oh yeah, I could walk a lot smoother was the feedback. But I recommend that on everybody. I don't know if you could see that. Do you see it now?
Yeah, I can see a little bit. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so,
Okay.
and then if you notice, it's a full length toe plate. This goes to right to the very end of the shoe, gives good knee stability as well.
Yeah. Well, that's really cool. Someone's asking, they said they have scoliosis and their lower back turns to the right. Will these braces help straighten that out, or is that a different situation?
So if the scoliosis is based on poor alignment of the legs, because you know, there's some people that have very, very deformed limbs, knees going in or knees going backwards or forward or whatever. I just saw somebody from San Antonio last week, and one knee was going forward, one was going backwards. But when you have anything that deviates or flexes or angulates, you'll get a shortness on that one side, and that's why I said leveling the pelvis. Now this will become a functional scoliosis because the spine will take off this way and it's got to correct itself. Now, there's different types of scoliosis. There's one that it's called paralytic scoliosis, which means you're paralyzed on one side and then the muscles, the spine will collapse in a C curve. And then there's idiopathic scoliosis, which will be an S curve. So depending on what type or what's causing the scoliosis, I had a woman from India where she bilateral KFO, she's very, very involved. But when I realigned her scoliosis straightened out pretty well. So she was very happy.
That's amazing. Goodness.
I have a woman that from Arizona that I fit, and she was 63 years old and with better alignment on both legs. She had a spinal cord injury, but with better alignment, she wanted new braces after 4 years. And I go, these still fit, they still look good. And she goes, I just want a new pair. But she goes, I never told anyone about this. So she was injured when she was 20. I fit her when she's 63. She then wanted to be refit when she's 67. At 67, she goes, I never told anyone about this, but when you realign me, I regained continency.
Oh, interesting.
Now she went 43 years being incontinent because she was out of alignment. And by being aligned in 3 dimensions, it balanced her pelvis, and it changed her life, dramatically.
Gosh, that sure would. Unbelievable. Really neat. That's good news. So the question has come up, what is the cost estimate for your braces, if you could speak to us about?
I knew that was coming. And
Yes.
if not, I was going to volunteer. My bracing systems, I dedicate months pretty much for almost each individual. And so my bracing systems cost more, but I am doing a lot more. And so mine start around 11,000 each, and they could go, believe it or not, as high as 30,000 each. Now, that sounds like a lot, but I had one woman that went to 6 different states, spent $180,000 on different braces that did not work. She came here, it's very complex. I fit her.
What you just said?
What's that? So I got her out of a wheelchair and walking without her legs breaking. So they said it was the cheapest 30,000 they'd ever spent, but most of my braces are 11 or 12,000 each. That's, I would say, 95%.
Okay.
Does that include your time?
Yes. And all the training and the follow-up to a certain degree. I'm usually pretty generous on that.
Will Medicare pay for any of your time?
No. I purposely did not have the Medicare number because they restrict if I can fit somebody.
Okay.
A couple other questions coming in. What type of shoes do you recommend? You have to go up size.
Okay, so I try to start everybody off, and believe it or not, a skateboarding shoe. And that's a great question on that. Let me grab it. So the flatter the flatter the shoe, the more contact with the ground, and that means you're going to be a lot more stable. Too many shoes are too rounded, and there's not enough. You're like trying to walk on an upside down beach ball. And the flatter, the more contact you are, and so I look for what I call a sports car suspension. Low, flat, wide, and firm makes you very stable on the ground. And so that, I mean, even myself, my most of my shoes are flat and firm. So when I walk, so that way I'm nice and stable regardless of what terrain I'm on, whether I'm grass or gravel or concrete. So shoes are, now, the thing about shoes is that any brace will take up valuable room in a shoe. So you need to get wider shoes and deeper shoes. And if you get a wide enough shoe and a deep enough shoe, then the shoe does not have to grow in size. But most people, when they go out, they usually have to go up 1, 2, sometimes on a rare occasion, even 3 sizes, but that's very rare. It just depends on the brand of the shoe. But a skateboarding shoe tends to be a little wider, it's flatter. The other thing you want to look for is something where laces or Velcro that comes down, closer to the toe will accommodate the braces much better.
Okay.
Now-
Go ahead.
And then there are some brands out there like Mary Jane's for women that they have some brands that work well. Same with men's shoes. Some of them for men's dress shoes. Because I have an attorneys, I fit a lot of positions, male and female, and so of course they need to dress professionally. So
Absolutely. And can you talk a little bit about your stretching techniques? You mentioned workouts or stretching or exercise with your clients.
So on the first day that I say I will make an assessment, and then one of the things that every single one on that panel, including me, have hip flexion contractures. So a hip flexion contracture makes you bend slightly at the hip, but it may also make the knees flex. And I don't know how many people go, I'm getting weaker and weaker, and they go to a physician, they go, well, go see your PT to be strengthening. It's probably the worst thing you could do. That it's more important to stretch and harness gravity to hold you up and be stronger than to try to overuse your muscles even more by trying to strengthen. So a gorilla is flexed at the knees and hips, but they're 8 times stronger than the strongest human, but they can't stand long and they can't walk far. So it's not muscle strength we're looking for, it's alignment. So somebody who's very, very weak could outstand a gorilla. And if they learn to walk efficiently, could outwalk a gorilla. Now you're not going to beat one in a sprint, but when we stop fighting gravity. So stretching is one of the biggest things that I go for. Now the other is if you could stand up and get the pelvis forward, then you could, the lower back shuts off, your glutes shut off, your quads shut off, and it just takes your shoulders, your whole paraspinal muscles shut off. And that's the main thing I try to do is teach people how to relax. And it all comes with proper alignment. So if we do have contractures, and what I'd recommend is everyone with CMT is stretch out your hip flexion contractures. Now, stretching it took years to develop. So sometimes in fact, when I went to a PT recently, she's just saying, okay, we'll stretch for 2 or 3 minutes. Some are even 10 seconds or 30 seconds. Believe it or not, you got to stretch for hours, and it's low tension over hours. So it could be when you're sleeping, sitting, or whatever. Another way is kneeling on a chair. But stretching the hip flexor contractures will take it's go low and slow. It should not hurt. If it hurts, you're doing it too hard. But it should be just a low and slow tension.
Okay. And can you speak to your locations around the country? If people are interested in your bracing, do they have to come out to the San Diego, Carlsbad area, or do you have other locations?
Well, Yeah, I used to have several, but unfortunately, somebody mentioned Medicare. Medicare shut a lot of people down. If you had a Medicare provider number, then you had to bill Medicare, and then Medicare could deny it, which means that all the money would have to be refunded, even though they did a lot of great work. I had 3 people, in fact, that lady that was with that PAC llama, Medicare initially, this is years ago, that's where I quit Medicare, but they wanted me to refund all her money back. And she said, no, these are the best things in my life, but it's dealing with Medicare is crazy. And so I had another woman from Boston in 41 years. She goes, this is the best braces. I've never been able to stand or walk in 41 years. And these things are fantastic. And Marmaduke, you don't need to owe me a penny back. But that's where I said, okay. And that's all the other clinicians that have Medicare provider numbers, which most of them do. They're afraid of that. You know, they could do a lot of great work, spend months of work, and then have to refund the money. And that was just crazy. So right now, primary, I'm in San Diego. I do have somebody in Houston, Texas, and Baltimore that will still see people. Yeah.
Okay, so San Diego, Houston, and Baltimore.
Yeah.
All right. And then, so will any insurance provide coverage or supplemental insurance, or is it cash only?
So you have to think, all insurance companies don't want to pay a dime. So they want to only pay cheapest, lightest, smallest if they have to, and they'll try to deny that. So I have had people that have fought their insurance companies on rare occasion. I've had Kaiser, I've had the VA on rare occasions. Medicare used to pay for it, but the people who run Medicare who do all the billing for Medicare are insurance companies. So insurance companies have the biggest lobbyists in the world. And what they do is they say, Congress, hey, if you deny this and this and this, then it meant that they didn't have to pay for it on the insurance side. So managed care, I call prevent care or denial care. But there are very few that really are trying to do their very best for people.
Okay. And if someone's interested in going to the person in Baltimore who works on dynamic bracing solutions, how does someone get that information? Or should they-
Just contact our office. What I usually do is I have people send videos of each individual to me. I look at them all, and then I will contact the clinician and talk it over. And there's some cases that are just either too complex, and I may say you may need to see me or whatever. So I try to, in a sense, do triage on that. Some people I say, yeah, you got to come up to see me.
So start with you. So contact your office and go from there.
And so what I do is I have video instructions. So we will email that back to you. Just take some video, just follow the directions, and then we transfer the videos to me. I look at the videos frame by frame and from different angles. So I take inventory of what bone is going in the wrong direction at the wrong time. And the more I could put back into place, the better your life will become.
Okay. And let's do one last question out of respect for everyone's time. We're going to wrap, but we have recorded this, and then we've also shared Marmaduke's contact information in the chat. So if you want to reach out, he has shared his email, he's shared his office number, so you can reach out and make some time with him. A question that has come up a couple times is, do you make SMOs?
No, I'm not a big fan of those.
Okay.
I do make a foot shell that's based on triplanar methods, but usually materials that you could flex with your hands and whatever, I don't believe are strong enough to really hold somebody in a good alignment. Now, if a child is small enough, then those plastics may work. University of Washington in St. Louis did a study and they found out that anyone over 42 pounds with plastic doesn't work. So,
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
And then
Well-
a lot of the prefab ones are too flexible as well. And that just makes muscles and nerves work more. I still think that the prefab ones are good for, like, if you want to get down to the pool or you want to do certain activities. I think they're still very functional, but they don't do anything to prevent future deformities from developing, whether you roll out or roll in.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I still think it's a good tool.
Yeah. Yes. Well, Marmaduke, thank you so much for your time this evening, and I thank everyone for your patience. We had quite the glitch, but we worked through it. We powered through it. So I'm so glad we had time with you. And please reach out if you have any follow-up questions. You can reach out to Marmaduke. Again, he shared his information, and this will be recorded. We will have it available for viewing after we edit it. And thank you all for being with us tonight. We appreciate you being part of the CMTA community. And
Oh,
Marmaduke, thanks for being a friend to the CMTA.
Thank you.
All right, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Bye-bye.